Now, I know there's a new narrative being peddled around that DIG Lagat is innocent, but because this country has people who still believe in the rule of law, we still believe that someone is innocent until proven guilty. But what also majority of us are demanding, because this person was the complainant and this person was also in the scene of crime, is that he either steps aside and allows investigation to be done or completely resign from his role. And that's not negotiable. But before I walk you through what people like Esther Passaris and Mutahi Ngunyi, surprisingly, Mutahi Ngunyi is tweeting for the very first time, and he's planting this narrative in people's mind, knowing that he has not even tweeted anything in regards to Albert Ojwang's death. His first tweet in all this is to say how DIG Lagat apparently is being set up. I'm going to be reading some of these tweets, and obviously we are going to react to them. But before that, how are you guys feeling? I know it's been a very, very rough week for majority of us in the country, but I know our first closure is the post-mortem result. Honestly, there's something in me that kept telling me, Lynn, you cannot be wrong about this. Because when they gave us this narrative that Albert knocked his head over and over and over again in this police cell, I said, you know what? This is BS. I'm gonna call BS on BS. And honestly, I knew deep down this was a lie. So just like majority of you, I was waiting for this post-mortem result. And when it came out, I was like, you know what? This is the first closure we need as a country. Even the parents, even Albert's father, I know he feels some sort of relief knowing that his son did not take his own life. But because there was already a statement being issued by the National Police Service, and there's a reason I don't want us to forget this press statement that was issued by Mushiri Nyaga, where he first acknowledged that NPS confirms that Albert Ojwang was lawfully arrested by DCI detectives for false publication and placed in custody. While in custody, the suspect sustained head injuries after hitting his head against the cell wall. Why is Mushiri Nyaga and the entire people at the National Police Service still serving? Because this is a statement that was issued. This was not a joke. This was a statement. And I know for sure they will regret having issued this statement, because this statement acknowledges that, number one, they can prove that Albert hit his head against the wall. So no matter what happens, all of us will be watching and we will be waiting to actually see them prove how Albert knocked his head on the wall over and over again. The same statement, by the way, no matter what happens in this scenario, make sure you save this copy of this statement, because these are the words we will keep referring to over and over and over. He also says that Albert was lawfully arrested by DCI detectives for false publication. False publication. I don't think the country will rest until we know what is this false publication, right? First, them acknowledging that he was in their cell, them acknowledging that they can prove that he hit his head, and also acknowledging that they arrested him for false publication. That is something we can't wait to see how it plays out. But most importantly, we cannot forget the complainant in this matter. And before I walk you through the whole Mutahi Ngunyi and Esther Passaris shenanigans, I want you to remember and I want you to stamp the fact that Eliud Lagat is the complainant in this matter, not anyone else. And I also don't want us to forget the words, according to Albert's father, the police officers uttered, that uyu alitusi mdosi wetu. So you do not need to have watched Suits or have watched Harvey for you to be able to realize that once we start connecting the dots, a lot of people, the dots that we've already connected, there is nothing hard in this matter. Honestly, you can be able to connect the dots by yourself. So the fact that there is a statement that placed Albert at Central Police Station, now we want to walk backwards. We want to walk backwards. We want a whole story from Central Police Station. Let us go back to Mawego Police Station, and then let us go back to Albert's home so that we can be able to connect the dots. Before Mawego Police Station released Albert so that he's transported to Central Police Station, who made the calls? Do we have to keep repeating this over and over and over again? No, we do not have to keep repeating this over and over again. And I've said there are people in this country that believe in the rule of law. And the rule of law says that even if you are the complainant, it is okay for us to be able to ask ourselves, what were you doing in the scene of crime? I mean, if today I sue these lights for burning my face so brightly, and I complain against these lights, and these lights crash, and I show up here in this scene, does it make sense? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Because this is a murder scene right now, and there is a complainant. Why are you letting the complainant? No one, by the way, this country has no one else that complained. Now it's in public records that DIG Lagat was the complainant. But I said, Mutahi Ngunyi maybe woke up in the right side of his foot or bed and decided, I've analyzed this more than anyone else in this entire country, and these are my thoughts, and he's free to have his thoughts, right? But see how this is structured. He goes ahead and said, if I killed Albert Ojwang using police networks, if I killed, then blamed it on DIG Lagat, who would defend Eliud Lagat? He has no rights, in caps, he has no rights. Why? We have made up our minds. Do not confuse us with the facts. If I killed Ojwang and we push for arrest Eliud Lagat, the killer would walk free. True? Of course, the killer would walk free. But the part that I don't agree with, and the part that I was like, guy, you haven't even said anything in this matter. And this is what you could get from your entire analysis, that someone else killed Albert Lagat. And we are not saying this could actually be someone else that did this, because we don't expect Lagat went and hit Albert and strangled him. This was being done by a particular set of people, right? So we are not disputing that directly Lagat could not have killed Albert. Of course, he might not even have been there, but he issued instructions. Why do we want to be blind to the fact that this person was the complainant, and the fact that this was so quickly done over the weekend, and this is someone's boss? I mean, how often do you tell your boss, no, it's a weekend? How often do you tell your boss, no, I can't do it? Especially in the police force. How often would you dare them to wait for Monday, right? But he goes ahead and said, we have made up our minds. First and foremost, I need to correct him on something. We have not made up our mind that Lagat killed Albert. What we've made our mind up on is, number one, he's the complainant. Are we together until there? Class, are we good? He's the complainant. Number two, he was on that same crime scene when they were issuing a press statement. But you know what? You know who else was shocked by the fact that Eliud Lagat's name is being dragged around? Of course, your favorite woman representative, Esther Passaris. And Esther tells Mutahi, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was with the Deputy Inspector General, Eliud Lagat, during a Kenya Alliance of Residents Association meeting on Sunday when the news broke. So first, she's claiming alibi, right? He was completely out of the loop. His composure reflected genuine surprise, not that of someone aware of let alone involved, in the death of Albert Ojwang. Let the investigations be thorough and impartial. The real perpetrators must be brought to book, not scapegoats. According to her, Eliud Lagat is a scapegoat. Assuming this narrative is right, assuming Passaris and Mutahi are so intelligent that they are definitely seeing what majority of the people in the country are not seeing, and we gotta give them that, right? Assuming they are so intelligent, would you be so intelligent to write this statement? He was completely out of the loop. His composure reflected genuine surprise, not that of someone aware of, let alone involved, in the death of Albert Ojwang. So according to Passaris, when this news reached Lagat, I wanna envision, I'm just imagining in my head, Lagat was like, huh? Wait, what? Surprised. And then back to composure. Because again, if I issue for the murder of someone and the news break out, how am I going to react? Like, damn it, good, done, cheers, done, kaput. Is that how you think a murderer? And I'm not saying in this case he is, I'm just saying in a scenario where you have ordered for something bad to happen to someone. Even when we were young, when you broke a thermos or you broke a glass and your mom discovers, you act surprised. But deep down, you broke that glass. You broke that thermos. But would you be like, oh my God, pole mama umenishika? Barely would you do that, right? So for her to state that, let the investigations be thorough and impartial, the real perpetrators must be brought to book, not scapegoats. Whether Lagat is a scapegoat or not, I can tell you the only thing these people fear is that they got caught. I can tell you the only thing they fear is the fact that we can be able now to trace from Hapaju who the complainant is. And if Lagat is innocent, see, you do this, guys, because again, I've said, we will still believe in the rule of law, where even people like Lagat, we will still accord them their day in court, should that day come. However, siwa produce tu hawa askari wote that were involved in the whole transportation of the most wanted man in Kenya, Albert Ojwang. How about you now walk us through? Siwakuje waseme, like come out and say, this is what happened. Mawego police station, Lagat was not involved. As we came to Central, Albert passed on. We are so interested in that version of your story. But I can tell you why no one is speaking. No one is leaking information. No one is saying anything. Because they know we're in a tight corner. Because let me tell you what my theory is. And I don't know, you guys can share your theory as well. No one expected Albert to die. Albert was supposed to be taught a lesson. He was supposed to be taught a lesson. And the strangulation, the beatings, whatever he was subjected to led to his death, but they were not anticipating it. And because the conversation had already started happening, and I do pray that conversation should have started the moment even his friends found out that Albert has been arrested. Those tweets should have started, because that is the only way now we can protect ourselves. If anything happens to me right now, trust you me, I have a group of people who have told them, do not even blink, tweet about it. Because a tweet is the only thing that can be able to save my life if something happens to me right now. But they were not expecting that even social media would get wind of these details sooner, and people like Cyprian Nyakundi would spend their entire time tweeting over and over and over and over. They were not expecting that. And then now, when you realize you've messed up, here's the dead body, you don't know what to do about it. Because some of the dumbest questions that should even be answered right now is Central Police Station being so busy, you have a whole cell vacant for one particular person. Guys, I need some water. You have a whole cell for one particular person, right? The dark things that happened from Mawego to Central Police Station will one day be revealed. But for now we are okay with knowing Albert did not take his life. And you know, interestingly, I just made a tweet yesterday. Yesterday when I saw people lighting candles, you know, we were there and people were lighting candles, and these young people who have also decided we must continue advocating for justice for Albert. You could see the desperation in their faces, and you would be like, what is happening to our country? And I think I had a moment and I posted and I said, if I die, at least I'll die knowing that I used my voice when it mattered most, right? It was a very devastating day for majority of the people, but I did not expect people to also give their version of if I die. And this is not, we don't want to tweet if we die. I think for me, you want to assure even your fans and supporters that I am convinced whatever it is that I'm doing, every time I come and sit here, I'm convinced that's what God would have me doing. So I have no fear, because if we don't speak, who else will, right? But to see people also go through the same version of the tweet, and also, let me just read you a few of them. It's not a flex in our country. It just shows that people are now okay dying prematurely. Because that's what happened to Albert and so many other people. It just shows you that the citizens in your country have lost faith in you so much that they are okay with death. And they are making peace with death right now. And if you allow me, let me read you a couple of those. Here we have Dennis. Dennis said, if I die, let it be known I died fighting for bringing sanity for my unborn children. We are in this knowing the consequences might be dire and may cost our lives, right? Edward said, if I die, tell my family I devoted my life for fight for injustice in Kenya, but I also denied them their needs. Tell them to understand I didn't do this over selfishness or arrogance, but to preserve a Kenya worth living for every citizen. Joshua Okayo said, if I die, I'll be proud of myself for dying for the right cause. Rest in power, Albert. And Nelson Amenya said, if I die, may my blood be used to refresh the tree of liberty. Honestly, and if you die, people like Nelson, if they die, we will remain grateful for the role they've played in this whole movement. Brad said, you can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. That's Brad right there. And Nyerian said, if I die, whoever kills me will relieve me the stress of living in a failed country where my life is less important than that of a politician or someone who has the power, like a police officer. Dalma said, if I die, I'll be proud, for I was part of a revolution that wanted to see a better country for us, our children, and generations to come. I spoke when my country needed my voice. I spoke when my fellow comrades who were abducted needed my voice so as to be released, right? So you can tell the mood, and we don't want to do this every other week. We don't want to come here and just talk about such injustices. We want to laugh. We want to envision a more beautiful life than this one, and not a life where majority of the youths in this country are even scared of tweeting, because who knows? False publication can now lead you to murder. Who knows, right? The joy for people like Eliud Lagat is that they get their day in court. The sadness for the family of Albert Ojwang is that they will never see their son on that stand defending his rights. Man, a post can now get you killed in the most horrific way. But moving on, I think people like Mutahi and people like Passaris and all the other politicians who realized only yesterday that there's something here, let's tweet. I have not said anything about this, so let me rush to my phone and say something just so that people can see I'm with them in this movement. It's a shame. And the best part is that people are keeping tabs. We now know who thinks, because you don't have even to tweet because you think this is going to lead to the protest and you need to be on the right side of this movement. You just needed to air your views out simply because a man has lost his life at the hands of the police officers or in the hands of the police officers who are supposed to protect him from danger. You are only supposed to tweet or post wherever you post your posts on, because this could potentially be your daughter, your son, your husband. And we said yesterday it was Albert's day. Tomorrow will be our day. So stop this behavior of posting when it's too late because you don't want to be left out and because you think, let me associate with the people, this is the safest way to go about it right now. You know, you weigh your options and see, okay, should I say something or should I not say something? You get what I'm saying? So we are keeping tabs and we are watching you and we know what you stand for. And come the next election, we will remind you that when it mattered most, you chose silence or you chose to react late to the whole justice. The most annoying part about even Passaris' tweet is that hapo chini, justice for Albert Ojwang. What are you saying? Why can't you say, I was with Lagat and he was surprised? However, because he's the complainant and he's been named in this case, ma'am, how about step down, my friend, be investigated, let's see how this happens. Because now you are with him on Sunday. Did you spend your entire time just observing him to see where the muscles in his face, how they react, how he smiles, how he laughs? Did you spend the whole time just observing the man so that you can get to see his reaction? How did you even know this was confirmed unto him? How did you know this had broken? And that Sunday, did you spend Saturday night with him as well? To create this narrative and mess with people's mind, instead of saying, my friend, step down, let people investigate you for what they need to investigate you for. And we know, yeah, politics is a dirty game. Maybe, they set each other up, they did this. You are creating more confusion in the air because now you want people to forget that there were statements and you want people to forget that he's a complainant, and there's nothing wrong with someone lodging a complaint in this country. But please, now this is murder. Let us treat it as a murder scene. Not just any crime scene, a murder scene, which means that if someone is naming you somewhere, let us just investigate you because this is the right thing to do. And if Lagat is innocent, walk free, my friend. And that's the difference. You get to walk free, we get to bury Albert. That is the difference. But I really want to take this moment to appreciate, as I said, everyone that has taken part in this movement. I think now you go back to some songs by people like Kitusua and you listen to these songs that we are about to play next and you realize, man, these things have been happening in our country for such a long time. The following images are of people who you guys might not have seen their contribution to the movement and to the justice, to the demand for justice for Albert Ojwang. So we appreciate them and we appreciate everything that they've done to make sure that people do not forget Albert's name. The only reason I come here every day this week is to make sure that you guys don't forget Albert's name. You know, because only yesterday I got an awakening. Out of the 1.3 million subscribers that we have in this platform, I don't know if Albert had subscribed to our work or not, but can you imagine 1.3 million of us? We do not know what happens to each and every one of us. And I don't want this to be just statistics. I want the 1.3 million community of people that we've built together for us to move with purpose and for us to be able to speak when it matters. And the sadness of knowing that someone like Albert might have been even a subscriber of this platform and to have no one speak on his behalf. Maybe he would go and watch our shows, catch up with a couple of shows over the weekend. You know, I've met a lot of teachers telling us that they use some of our work to even showcase to their students and help, you know, derive lessons from those conversations. What if he was just one of those teachers? I don't know. I'm just using it as an example. I'm not saying he was a fan, but I'm saying he could have been one of our 1.3 million subscribers. He could have been me. And for me, I want when something happens to me, tweet your breath out. Tweet and let them know that, you know what, we will not stop singing and talking about Albert until justice is done. And the images of the people you're about to watch are doing that. Every time, even when you're in the protest, you're meeting them and they've dedicated their whole time to making sure that people don't forget Albert's name. I also saw a post by Eric Omondi on Team Sisi kwa Sisi, where he has shared Albert's dad's number. Yeah, I have not seen people saying this is not the dad's number. So, and also since it's Eric's post on Team Sisi kwa Sisi, I know people are very skeptical on donations and pay bill, but I'm glad this is a direct number. But because I know a lot of people are sending money to this number right now in preparation for Albert's burial, maybe wait until evening. Take note of the number on your screen right now. That is Baba Albert's number. If you have anything that you can, because what else can we do, guys, right now? Maybe make it easier for this family to plan the burial. So that's Eric's post right there saying, how many more must we bury? Team Sisi kwa Sisi. Let's stand with Baba Albert. Albert left behind a 3-year-old son. Let's ensure he never lacks anything. May he grow to know that his father died a hero. Send whatever you can to Baba Albert's number, 0727 927 898, and the full names will be Meshach Opio. So if you're in a position to, no pressure at all. If you're in a position to, you can be able to send something. But I know a lot of people are sending to this number and there's always a limit. So you can take note of the number and maybe wait for the traffic to reduce kidogo, and then you send your contribution. I appreciate all of you. Maybe this is what God wanted us to do this week, have this conversation and play our part in demanding for Albert's justice. But I'm always interested in your comments on the comment section. Let me know what you think. We are not buying this narrative by the politicians. They do the dirty works by themselves. So let them figure it out by themselves. Let them do the job of figuring out who set who up, wherever, whenever. That's okay. Us, all we are interested is seeing people arraigned in court for the murder of Albert Ojwang. And the days of us touching a story and then leaving it, you know, because there's always the need to jump into the next story. No, this one we will talk about it until justice is served to the family of Albert Ojwang. Because look at us. We have so many people who have died that will never even get justice. Guys, don't let this one go. Please, Don't let it go. Don't let it go. So share your thoughts with me on the comment section, and hopefully we get to meet for another conversation. And I'll keep you updated on this matter until we can find closure, matters justice. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you are new here, well, thank you for joining in. We do appreciate that subscription. It's the only way we can be able to continue creating impactful conversation. But as I said, a couple of picks to some of the people that might never get recognition when it comes to such movements. So take your flowers. We appreciate you.
Na dedicate mahiro wote wa Kenya, kila mtu ame struggle na hapo paid for, in time ya paid for revolutionary comrade.